Global Social Club, Ara Museum Offices, Ikunda Bookshop, Kariakoo mtaa wa Mhunda, House of Wisdom, Mezzanine nambari 22 NHC House, Samora Avenue, Dar es Salaam, MacBooks and Brains, Mlimani City Mall, duka nambari 44, Dar es Salaam, TPH Books, barabara ya Samora, Elite Bookstore, Mbezi njia panda Goba, Mlimani Bookshop, Kariakoo mtaa wa Sikukuu na Lindi, Timiza Malengo, Ubungo Kona, Chuo Kikuu, Bookmart Online Shop, Instagram, Bookmart TZ, Twitter, Bookmart 1, Jamani Investment Limited, Nyerere Road, Airport Terminal 2, Shinyanga, Kahama Bookshop Center, mtaa wa Lumerezi, Arusha, Kase Bookstore, mtaa wa Sekei, A Novel Idea, TFA Center, Arusha, Tanzania, Dodoma, Lugarawa Bookshop, Dodoma mjini, barabara ya 8, Moshi, Ape Bookshop, Moshi mjini, Christian Bookshop, Moshi mjini.
Wahi nakala yako sasa kwenye duka lolote lililopo karibu nawe.
Capital News tonight. Minister Biteko gives 7 days for Mining Commission to revoke 162 research and mining licenses. Uganda to begin second phase of Ebola vaccine rollout. Chanetta urges districts to start youth and elite leagues. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The Minister for Minerals, Dr. Biteko, has given 7 days to the Mining Commission to cancel and revoke 162 survey and mining licenses of mining companies whose certificates contained flaws. A deadline of 30 days to other mining companies to pay unpaid charges of more than 116.67 billion shillings. Speaking in Dodoma City, Minister Biteko said that a list of the financial claims which those companies whose licenses were cancelled failed to pay should be prepared in order for those companies to pay the claims which amassed during their years of ownership.
I instruct the Minerals Commission to write all 18,341 license holders so they can pay for those owing over 100 billion, that they must pay within 30 days, and if they are not able to do so, their licenses will be revoked and that proper measures will be taken against them. There are a lot of investors who would like very much to be given a license to operate, yet there are certain companies who owe so much and are not even able to pay the yearly fee. Please issue them a default notice without caring who they are.
Wape default notice bila kuangalia sura ya mtu.
Kagera Regional Police Force has taken 3 people to court who allegedly slit the throats of 4 people who used to be residents of Kashenge village in Katoma Ward, Bukoba District Council, so they can answer the charges against them. The suspects who allegedly committed the crime are also being charged with involvement in more than 15 murders which occurred in Kagera region in 2015, in which people's throats were also slit. Apart from those charges, the suspects are also being accused of involvement in the burning of churches. In court, suspects were named as Ali Dauda Hassan, Gesela Joseph and Rashid Mzee Athumani. While under tight security by police, the suspects were brought before the senior judge of the High Court of Tanzania for Bukoba Zone, Lamek Michael Mlacha, who adjourned the case until tomorrow when arguments will start to be made officially. The suspects are being accused of murdering Kaijage John, Anastella Pascal, Emmanuel Joseph and Alois Remamu. The suspects are also accused of murdering the victims on November 1st of 2015. At the same time, the court has closed the evidence for the defense in the case on the murder of Spurius Eradius, a grade 7 student in Kibeta Primary School in Bukoba Municipal, which Witnesses for the defense included teacher Alieth Gerald, who is the second accused in the case, and the acting supervising medical officer of Kagera Referral Hospital, Dr. Felix Otieno, who investigated the body of the deceased. The fate of land conflict between residents of 5 streets of Shibula in Ilemela district, as well as JWTZ and Mwanza Airport, is still unresolved after the special committee of 8 ministers formed by President Magufuli with the aim of resolving land conflict issues between citizens and government institutions, failing to provide a decision.
Conflict early so as to prevent it from escalating and cause a misunderstanding between the government and its people on something that can be sorted out. The people want development. There should be proper dialogue and compensation.
Wananchi wataendelea kuvamia maeneo ya serikali kila mara.
Citizens will continue to invade government's land because Nyamagana and Ilemela municipals have not surveyed land. That is why it allows people to construct houses on unsafe areas. Ilemela and Nyamagana municipals, you are still lagging behind on planning and surveying land. That is why people invade anywhere. According to the map that we have, most of institutions' land is in Ilemela. My call to the manager of Ilemela is to find a place where there is enough area where you can plan and survey. Please do that to help people who want to construct houses at reliable areas for them to pay taxes without any doubts.
Wewe uniambie gharama gani unataka mimi nikukopesha hata kesho.
Tunapokea tatizo hili.
I would like to say that we have come to the region to hear about your land conflict, and now I must assure you all that we plan to take the details of your land conflict back to the highest levels of government. I must say that we have also spoken with the region's leaders about the need for them to set aside an area of land for the people to use while they are waiting for compensation to be paid. Finally, I would like to thank the region's leaders for recognizing the importance of having army squadrons based in this area.
The High Court of Tanzania has revoked the appointment of Civic United Front CUF Board of Trustees from the camp of Professor Ibrahim Lipumba, who is recognized by the Registrar of Political Parties. The decision was handed earlier today by Judge Benhaj Masood, and he said that the names recommended by the chairman, Professor Lipumba's camp, did not have the required qualifications to be appointed as trustees of the board, as they've not met the legal requirements. One of the CUF lawyers from Maalim Seif's camp, Juma Nasora, said that with the decision, the Board of Trustees who are there will continue with their responsibilities despite their term having ended until other trustees are appointed. Malindi MP, through CUF Ali Saleh, launched the case against the Registration, Insolvency and Trusteeship Agency, RITA, for approving the trustees that were put forward by Professor Lipumba's camp. The case number 13 of 2017, opened by Saleh, comes from Maalim Seif's camp, is represented by attorneys Mpale Mpoki and Fatma Karume against Rita. The alleged individuals approved by Rita include Peter Malebo, Hajira Silia, Azizi Dangesh, Amina Mshamu, Abdul Magomba, Asha Suleiman, Salha Mohammed, Suleiman Isa and Musa Kombo. Other trustees that were put forth by Maalim Seif's camp and were removed by Rita include Abdallah Katau, Joram Bashange, Ali Suleiman, Juma Muchi Mohammed and Yohana Mbelwa. The government has urged people as well as road users to ensure that they take care of the newly built tarmac roads in the country, because it did take a lot of money to construct the roads. The government also said that this enormous amount of money was drawn from the national domestic revenue. The Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan made those remarks in Singida while she was officially launching the Karume dual carriageway. As she was officially launching the carriageway, the Vice President said that even though tarmac roads bring development rapidly, she is still calling upon residents to take care of the network of roads in Singida region.
Roads bring security, harmony, people feel safe. So I ask you to take care of the road network in Singida. This road network doesn't belong to the government, but to the people of Singida. At your disposal for various uses, such as movement of people for commercial purposes, but also for those going to the hospital and school children too. We'll be saddened if we come next year and find this road is full of potholes. Remember that these roads cost a lot of money.
The Inspector General of Police, IGP Simon Siro, has assured leaders of Simiyu region that the force will ensure that it ends the killings of small children that are ongoing at villages in Lamadi Ward, Busega district. IGP Siro said this in Bariadi when speaking to leaders of the Regional Defense and Safety Committee after arriving in Simiyu.
Tunataka kuwarudishia confidence wajue kwamba serikali yao ipo na haya mambo hayatachukua muda mrefu, tutapata majibu yake.
The fate of the bail hearing for the National Chadema chairman Freeman Mbowe, as well as the MP for Tarime Urban Esther Matiko, is now in the hands of 3 Court of Appeal judges who have started to listen to the arguments being made in the case and are expected to give their verdicts regarding the appeal, which was launched by the Director of Public Prosecutions. The move to listen to the arguments of both sides in the appeal has been taken after the development which occurred on November 23rd of last year when Judge Masharuri, who at the time was the resident Chief Magistrate of Kisutu Court, revoked the bail of Mbowe and Matiko due to violations of bail conditions. The 2 political leaders then launched an appeal at the High Court of Tanzania in order to oppose the verdict of Kisutu Court to revoke their bail. It was planned that Judge Sam Rumanyika had been chosen to preside over the court proceedings in their appeal. Despite that, the High Court under Judge Rumanyika then decided to listen to the arguments which were made by both sides in the appeal. The DPP's appeal against Mbowe and Matiko was today heard by a panel of 3 judges, which consisted of Judge Stella Mgasha, Judge Mwanaisha Kwariko, and Judge Gerald Ndika. The DPP was represented by the state's head prosecutor Faraja Nchimbi as well as Paul Kadushi. Nchimbi explained that they have 3 issues, first being Judge Rumanyika from the High Court going out of the legal guidelines and agreeing to hear Mbowe and Matiko's appeals case against the decision of Kisutu Magistrate Court opposing their bail. Secondly, the judges required Nchimbi to stated that Judge Rumanyika was biased by going against legal guidelines and pushing for the appeal, knowing that legal precedent had not been followed. The third issue was the High Court did not consider sufficient right to hear them. After this, Attorney Kibatala responded and asked the court to dismiss the appeal and provide bail after looking through all the 3 issues. Judge Mgasha then said that the court will set a date to hand over the decision. Incidents of elephant poaching in Raha National Reserve in Orinda region have reduced from 52 elephants in 2012 to 3 last year, whereby this year, thus far, no elephant has been injured.
There is different kinds of poaching in this reserve, but the main one is on poaching, which we are doing everything we can to combat it. However, cases on elephant poaching is on a decline. In the last 3 years, this year we haven't had any cases on elephant poaching, and our hope is that we shall be able to control this situation 100%. Other illegal activities such as human settlement into the reserve and falling of trees for timber is practiced in some areas. In 2017-18, 360 cases were heard in court and the accused were fined and others were imprisoned. We look for areas with the best attraction for our tourists. There is also the Raha River, which is a big attraction. We rely on informers who tell us of any suspicious activities going on inside the reserve, but also we've been able to support host communities.
The Minister of Industry and Trade, Joseph Kakunda, has directed leaders in Tanga region to ensure that they remove some residents who have built in industrial investment locations at Neema area, which is next to the main road that joins Tanga to Pangani district, so that investors can begin building factories there.
Those who have encroached into this area, arrangements must be made to remove them. There's a lot of investors with sufficient capital in need of investing in order to produce products right for the market. We have not yet engaged this group. Yes, they have capital but have nowhere to invest. So when I come here and see an open space such as this one, it is disheartening. No activity was permitted by the government and they were to be compensated. Some have been making inquiries about their compensation and others have decided to sell on after having waited long to be compensated. So many lorries come and go with quarried stones, yet Tanga doesn't benefit, nor the government. There is no tax being paid to the government because of the 2012 regulation on safe economic zone.
That's all for national news. International news is next. And in international news, Uganda's Virus Research Institute has explained that it will begin the exercise to give out Ebola vaccine to their medical workers who are engaged in screening for the virus in various parts of the border of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
We are grateful from the support we received from stakeholders. These vaccines will be provided to health workers and those at frontline workers in the country.
Citizens of Beni have asked the Independent National Electoral Commission Seni in DRC to prepare MP elections in their area as they did not take part in the elections on December 30th of 2018.
They denied our right to vote. Nothing has changed. There is still Ebola and fightings just like every other day. We are wondering if Seni is still thinking of us on when we are going to cast our votes. I'm not happy with this so-called new leader. We did not vote for them to be in power.
Police who lead to diminished security in Beni by firing their guns as a way of asking to be paid have been taken to court for accusations of misuse of authority.
They should not just pay attention to the police officers, but rather fight for the right of all workers in the country. People are working. They deserve to be paid their salaries. They should just pay their salaries. When we heard the gunshots, we were so scared. We ran away everywhere from fear, ended up being hurt.
Nairobi's Labour Court has found guilty the Administrative Secretary of the Nurses Union in Kenya, Seth Panyako, as well as other officers for refusing to follow the court directive to hold the nurses' strike for 60 days so as to allow for discussions. This goes on as a medical service continue to be affected in public hospitals in Kenya for the third week as the strike continues.
No one has been arrested.
No one has been arrested. We have had rightful demonstrations. No one should fear about it. We know the provision of Constitution of Kenya. If you do not want devolution, tell us to go back to the central government. We chose developed government systems. Why do they want to take us to Nairobi? They have seen how much powerful the counties are. That is why they are finding alternative moves to stop us from exercising our right.
Iko na nguvu hata kuliko panyako. Sasa wameokopa nyinyi rudi Nairobi.
And that is all for international news. Do stay with us. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. The Minister of State in the Prime Minister's Office for Investment, Angela Kairuki, has said that the government will continue to receive and work on suggestions that continue to be provided by the private sector in bringing about revolution of improvement in the investment environment in the country so as to attain the goal of an industrialized Tanzania.
My key role is to facilitate and coordinate efforts done by the government. In the meantime, the private sector is responsible in following up on initiated procedures and their implementation. Tanzanians are good at writing proposals. Even neighboring countries like Mozambique, Rwanda, and the rest have acknowledged those skills.
Tanzania utakichukua tu kama kilivyo, alafu fanya tu utekelezaji, ndani ya muda mfupi utafanikiwa.
Mbali na sekta hii ya uchimbaji wadogo.
Apart from small-scale miners, there are other sectors facing immense challenges like agriculture, industries, trade, tourism, construction, and transportation. We are calling on the President to also meet and speak with these stakeholders so that we can have a way of boosting our economy in all sectors.
Tanzania Revenue Authority TRA has directed all breweries in the country to use the electronic stamps system in their industries, and if they do not do so, production activities in the factories will be shut down.
Ili tuweze kujua kwanza wanazalisha kiasi gani.
First, we need to know the quality produced so that we can regulate the amount of taxes to be imposed, like excise duty and corporate tax.
Binadamu mara nyingi anapenda kulalamika.
It is the nature of human beings to complain because they cannot tell their future. Sometimes the amount of taxes to be paid are just randomly chosen, making it not reliable. Through this system, we'll be able to get accurate figures. The system is good. It will definitely empower producers, reduce conflicts between producers and the government.
Owners of institutions, companies and entrepreneurs, which include gold miners in Gator region, have been required to register the names of their businesses online through the new ORS system that is being coordinated by Business Registrations and Licensing Agency BRELA so that they can be identified and conducted in a legal and modern manner as is currently being done.
Kwanza kuwa na takwimu.
kanzi data kujua tunawafanya biashara.
It is important to have statistical data in order to verify the number of traders in the country. It will help the government ensure that the business community in the country is provided with essential services, as well as government fulfilling the objective of collecting taxes effectively. Among challenges that makes traders fail to register with BRELA is because of failing to meet requirements set, including having identity cards.
Kwa sasa hivi katika ofisi zote za ngazi ya wilaya.
With cooperation from NIDA, all district and regional offices have initiated a special emergency desk of registration of national identity cards.
Ambazo zipo zinakuwa zinapatikana kwenye mtandao wetu.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda. What's up? My name is Céline Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip it, the hip it, the hip, hip, hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette. I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With
Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports. The National Netball Association, Chaneta, has called on districts to start youth and elite leagues with the aim of recognizing new talents and developing them for the national team.
The aim is that at a certain point, the youth who will perform well will play with the elites so that they can take their positions through first gaining the experience, and when the older ones retire, the youngers take their positions. This will be more citizens' team instead of depending on forces teams, which sometimes have their own work-related schedules.
Boxer Nasibu Ramadhani now aims at international bouts after defeating Fred Sayuni last weekend.
The belt that I'm interested on now, and I had already contested for, is the WBC. I finished the 12 rounds in the fight, but lost through points. I was robbed because I was away. So this is the belt that I want to own, the WBC belt.
Giannis Antetokounmpo reaffirmed his status as one of the hottest new talents in the NBA as he scored a game-high 38 points in Sunday's All-Star game. Although his team lost to LeBron James' side by 178 to 164, as basketball's biggest names lit up the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Here is more on this story.
Greek Freak has led the Milwaukee Bucks to the top of the Eastern Conference with the NBA's best record. At 24, he's a leading contender for this season's Most Valuable Player award, and All-Star MVP Kevin Durant says he has potential through the roof. Antetokounmpo's opposing captain, King James, was making a record equaling 15th All-Star appearance. I had my name on that MVP until the third quarter. They got hot and took it away from me, Antetokounmpo said after Team LeBron's Durant clinched the Most Valuable Player award with 31 points.
If you think your team was on the receiving end of a poor result this weekend, then spare thought for Italian Minnows Pro Piacenza. Here's more on this.
Serie C Group A strugglers were beaten 20-0. Yes, that's 20-0 at league rivals Cuneo last afternoon. They were trailing 16-0 at halftime, with Cuneo's Hicham Canis scoring 6 goals before the interval and fellow striker Eduardo Defendi getting 5. In Pro Piacenza's defense, there were mitigating factors. Currently, both of Italy's third tier, the Northern Club, are in serious financial trouble. They were deducted 8 points early in the campaign and have reportedly failed to pay their players since August, resulting in the resignation of the majority of the first-team squad.
British heavyweight Tyson Fury signed a deal with the United States network with a reported £80 million.
The deal, which is understood to cover Fury's next 5 fights, will see him broadcast on ESPN in the US while remaining on BT Sport in UK. Fury believes the deal makes a rematch with Deontay Wilder more makeable. But Fury, Wilder and IBF, WBA and WBO champion Anthony Joshua now each work with rival US broadcasters, adding a layer to any future negotiations. Fury's December draw with WBC World Heavyweight Champion Wilder aired on BT Sport in the UK, as well as Showtime, who broadcast Wilder's fights in the US.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. My name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
An easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction.